Days following the American Revolution. We interrupt this program to bring you a special news bulletin from CBS World News. A press association has just announced that President Roosevelt is dead. The president died of a cerebral hemorrhage. All we know so far is that the president died at Warm Springs in Georgia.
Who were with President Kennedy say he is dead of bullet wounds. This is the latest information we have from Dallas. I will repeat with the greatest regret, 2 priests who were with President Kennedy say he has died of bullet wounds.
Herbert Clark Hoover, 31st President of the United States. He died this morning at his suite in the Waldorf Astoria Hotel in New York. It was a heart failure brought on by blood toxins that accompanied internal hemorrhaging. He was 90 years old. At this moment, on this evening, let it be said, twice, when there was hunger in the world, he addressed himself to feeding the hungry. And in so doing, he probably saved more lives than any man in history. But even on this night, because it was a huge reality, it must be pointed out that no man in our recent history was more reviled than Hoover. On him fell the blame for the Great Depression of the 1930s. He lived with this fact for decades. It saddened his life. It is a mark of his greatness that it did not end his public service. It was not a thing of shame. It was simply a fact of history. And the origin of it all is understandable in the origins of the man himself.
Natural. He was 78 years old, and it was the end of a life so filled with accomplishment and achievement and honors that even though it was a long life, it could hardly have held anymore. Down to the end, he remained one of the most popular of all Americans. Last year, it was widely said, and perhaps accurately, that if he had been a little younger and healthier, and had it been legally possible, he could have been elected president again. He survived 7 heart attacks, a stroke, and a variety of surgery. But finally, today, his heart was so weakened it could no longer function, and he died of congestive heart failure. The announcement came from General Frederick Hughes, Commandant of the Walter Reed Army Hospital.
Good evening. Former President Harry S. Truman died this morning at age 88. The long vigil at Kansas City's Research Hospital came to an end when hospital spokesman Wayne Connery made the announcement.
The Honorable Harry S. Truman, 33rd President of the United States, died at 7:50 a.m. at Research Hospital and Medical Center.
They waited patiently for the presidential proclamation of mourning before lowering the flag outside Kansas City's Research Hospital. It was done calmly and with dignity, very much in keeping with the former president's last hours here. He was in a deep coma then, his body swiftly giving way. For 3 weeks he had fought off the effects of advancing age and a weakened heart, even when the drugs were no longer working. He went quickly this morning, a hospital source said, but peacefully.
I'm talking to Tom Johnston, the press secretary for Lyndon Johnson, who has reported that the 36th President of the United States died this afternoon in a ambulance plane on the way to San Antonio, where he was taken after being stricken at his ranch, the LBJ Ranch in Johnson City, Texas. He was stricken at 3:40 p.m. Central Standard Time, 4:40 Eastern Standard Time. 3 agents who were at the scene, who are permanently attached to the ranch to protect the president, went to his immediate aid, gave him all emergency aid they could, put him in a plane, I suppose, Tom, one of the president's own planes.
I'm Peter Jennings at ABC News headquarters. We have heard just a couple of minutes ago that President Nixon may have died, and we emphasize that is a rumor at this point. We say so because President Clinton has decided he's going to come to the White House cameras in a very short period from now and make some statement, and virtually all of our sources say that it has to do with President Nixon. But as soon as we're able to confirm that for you, we will be right back.
Former President Gerald R. Ford passed away last night. I spoke with Betty Ford. On behalf of all Americans, Laura and I extend to Mrs. Ford and all President Ford's family our prayers and our condolences. Him forever. May God bless Gerald Ford. This is a sad hour in the life of America. A great American life has come to an end. I have just spoken to Nancy Reagan. On behalf of our whole nation, Laura and I offer to her and the Reagan family our prayers and our condolences. Ronald Reagan won America's respect with his greatness and won its love with his goodness. He had the confidence that comes with conviction, the strength that comes with character, the grace that comes with humility, and the humor that comes with wisdom.
I'm Linda Lopez at ABC News headquarters here in New York. We are coming on the air because we have some very sad breaking news. George Herbert Walker Bush, the 41st President of the United States, has died at the age of 94. And his death comes just 7 months after burying the love of his life, his beloved wife, Barbara. The two were married for more than 73 years. He was tearful, as you can imagine, during that funeral service, comforted by his children. Bush was the patriarch of one of the most powerful political dynasties in American history. His